Hi guys, Dan Cooper here from Pro Tools Expert, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Boz Digital Labs Mixing Bundle. But first, I want to thank Plugin Boutique and Boz Digital Labs for sorting me out a copy for this review. Now in this bundle we have the Manic Compressor, which I've been using for the last few months, and it has fast become one of my top 3 mix bus compressors. We have the T-Bone, which is a tilt shift EQ with some filters and some extra features, and the Imperial Delay. So let's start with the Manic Compressor. Recently I did review this, and I'll put a link in the description because I do go quite in depth to the controls of this, but I will fly through this quickly now for this review so I can get onto the other plugins as well. Now the Manic Compressor, in my opinion, is parallel compression made easy. Now we have 6 different compressors at the top. We have clean, shear, gritty, digital, vintage, and smooth. We've got features here that can add a little bit more beef, a little bit more weight to the compression. The parallel compressor bit, which is just here, we've got the choice to mix in the wet, which is the compressed signal, alongside the dry, or take the dry out completely, mute them at the bottom with a master control out, along obviously with attack, release, threshold and ratio. And this loud relief, which is quite nice, it kind of puts back some of the transients if it's been compressed too heavy. Turn the dry off. You get a little bit of punch back. This isn't parallel compression, this is sort of like a transient saver, if you will. Put the dry back in. Bypass it. Said it's a very, very cool compressor, and this I'm using it all the time. I'm absolutely loving it. We've got some tone controls at the bottom here that help us EQ sort of within the compressor. We've got side chain controls that we can use to sort of get the compressor to ignore certain parts of the frequency spectrum, so that, let's say, like the low end doesn't pump too much. All these things are great to use. We've got some brilliant presets included. Everything that will just get you going very, very quickly. We've also got MS and stereo processing at the top here as well. So if you're serious about your mixing, you really do need this compressor. It's going to do everything for you very quickly, and it's just going to sound absolutely amazing. So as I said, I'm a big fan of this. So moving across to the T-Bone, this is a tilt shift EQ, and I think it's probably one of the best laid out GUIs I've seen in a long, long time. Let me show you why. I'm going to put this through with a bass guitar. Got this big dial in the middle. Increases the lows, drops the highs. Vice versa. I mean, this is basically just general tilt shift EQ. You can choose the position where the tilt starts. We got low cut that also tilts. You can see that all in the middle here. High cut. And we have some really nice little notches we can put in as well. So look at the low ends. Makes a big difference. And at the bottom right we have this analog switch that helps put in a little bit of dirt. It's subtle, but it's there. And the all-important mix blend control, which is always nice to use. Always just put it back to normal, blend in what you like. And again, we've got mid-side and stereo control for this as well. And finally, moving across, we have the Imperial Delay, which to me feels like a popular orange face plugin by another popular brand. It kind of takes what that plugin is and moves it forward in many, many ways. Let me show you how. So we've got dry and wet controls at the top here, so you can either use this as an insert or set it up on an aux track and bus to it. So you could always turn off the dry if you're going to do that. But I'm going to be using it as an insert here, so I'm going to keep the dry on and use the wet control to balance the effects. So let's hit play. Got different modes here. Go ping pong. Bring the wet down. Starting at the top then, we have drive, which let me give you a little example what that sounds like. If I push it all the way in, you can hear it. It's more like a saturation. That's nice, it's nice. We've got feedback below that. You'll see this little red area here. If I push this in to the reds, you'll hear it start to lose control. Which is a great effect. If you just roll it back past the reds, it starts to decay. It's lovely. We've got modulation. We've got this little E button next to most of these controls. These give us some more control over each of these effects, which is quite nice. Smear. I do like this. This, to me, sounds like it's adding a little bit of reverb. Just taking the edge slightly out of each of those delays. Again, got some controls for this. Size, feedback. Got colour below that, which is nice. Again, it's actually applies some EQ. Low and high cut. And width does the job. Chorus below that. Again, with the option to manipulate that further. And one more control at the bottom here, which is a little bit random, but still, it's nice to have, is pitch left and right. So I've got the left going nearly an octave down by the sounds of it, and the right going nearly an octave up. Now, I think all delay plugins should have a tap tempo feature, and this thankfully does, which is really useful because not all mixes that I do are always set to a tempo, so this is nice. So, what are my final thoughts on these three plugins, the Manic Compressor, the T-Bone, and the Imperial Delay by Boz Digital Labs? Well, it's a great starter toolkit, but by starter, I mean, you could get a mix done very, very easily with just these three plugins, and they sound amazing. You know, these are very easy to use as well. And out of the three, my favourite still is the Manic Compressor, but the T-Bone, I think it's going to fast become my go-to tilt EQ. And for delays, well, this really does take things musically a lot further for me, which is really nice. Having this smear control, you know, that's going to save me putting a reverb post my delay plugins. Having the modulation and the chorus, it's going to give me two different flavours to my delay. This feedback here, just showing us where we can push it in, where it's just going to keep going and saturating. That's brilliant, because sometimes we're guessing where that threshold is. Having that laid out makes things really easy. Anyway, this is well worth checking out. I've been very excited to show you guys this. Have a go for yourself. Let us know what you think about these three plugins in the comments below. I've been Dan, and thanks for watching.